So the video game landscape when it comes to the home console side of things definitely had a big shakeup late last week with the announcement of the Valve Steam machine. Now this to me is very interesting because honestly, I'm not really a PC gamer. I'm a PC YouTuber, of course, but a PC gamer, I mean, not really. I have a Steam library, I have a Steam Deck. I do have some games in my Steam library, but really the only time I play PC games is when a company wants to do a sponsored video, and for whatever reason, they don't send me a console version of their game to check out. They send me a PC version. Other than that, I'm playing on consoles because I enjoy the simplicity of it. And there are a lot of people like me out there that just enjoy the simplicity of a console. If there wasn't many people like us, then consoles wouldn't still be selling at a very high rate. Unless you're Xbox, but that's a story for another day. But with the Steam machine, honestly, I look at this and I'm pretty excited for it. You know, coming into it as a console gamer, there are quite a few things that are very attractive to me about this system, and I kind of want to talk about them in today's video, along with kind of the biggest questions surrounding the Steam machine and why I kind of view it a little bit differently than many other people do. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, but let's just hop straight into this video. Now, the first reason I am excited for the Steam machine is because when you look at Steam games, they're generally cheaper and go on sale more often than, you know, their console counterparts. And I think that's something that's very important, is just the amount of games that are on Steam and the amount of sales that happen on Steam. If you go on Steam right now, at the time of the filming of this video, there are over 8,000 games on sale currently. Now, that can be a little bit daunting when you're trying to find a specific game, but Steam does a good job of offering you games based on stuff that you have played or based on stuff that your friends have played if you have some Steam friends on your friends list. I think that makes this very attractive because you're opening up a large library of games and a large discounted library of games, because even if you're just looking at games on Steam, yes, there are tons of games that are on sale, but you could buy Steam games other places. Steam is not the only place to buy a Steam game. There are many Steam key sites out there that have even cheaper deals on these games, in which you just enter in the code once you purchase it from the Steam Key website, and then boom, you're in the game. Now, some of these are a little bit dodgy, but there are many established ones out there, and I think that makes it very attractive is the discounted prices, because we're talking about the entire Steam library, mostly, and then, of course, you also have access to Xbox and PlayStation games that are released on Steam, too. So there are quite a few different titles and different styles of games that you can play with a Steam machine. And considering that you're going to be able to get these games at discounted prices sooner rather than later, especially when compared to console counterparts, I think that makes it very attractive. The additional options of being able to buy the games via multiple different key sites as well, I think also makes it a very interesting proposition. Sticking with the game library of Steam, it's not just all new stuff and, well, weird hentai stuff that comes out on Steam. There are a ton of classic games that are available on Steam, and we're talking at like very optimal levels. If I want to play Fear, which is one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time, I could simply go to Steam and type in Fear, and look, there's Fear waiting for me to be purchased, which, I mean, I've already purchased it because it's Fear. Like, even if I, you know, never use my Steam Deck or never play on PC, Fear should be in your library when it comes to games. Like, it's just one of those great games. But I absolutely love Fear. And the fact that there are so many classic games that aren't really readily available on digital storefronts on various consoles, but they are available on Steam, makes it a great system for reliving some older games that you might have fond memories of. Now, like any digital distribution thing and any digital storefront, unfortunately, sometimes licenses expire. Sometimes things get removed. But the nice thing about Steam is if you own the game and the game gets removed from Steam, you still have access to that game until your Steam account dies or you die, whichever happens first. Take, for instance, Nights into Dreams. For whatever reason, Nights into Dreams is no longer available on Steam. which is honestly a shame because it's Knights, and Knights is greatness, and Knights is love, and Knights is life. But I purchased Knights for like, I want to say it was like $2 or $3 many years ago. And since that game is in my Steam library, even though it's not purchasable anymore for new people, I still have access to that game, and I can play this game anytime I choose to do such. So your library definitely feels a bit more secure than maybe some other digital libraries do. And I think that that's a very important thing. Once again, also sticking with the games, you have to look at the Steam machine itself as a console, because really it's a console PC hybrid, of course. But when you look at the specs for the Steam machine, this is a very capable piece of hardware, especially comparative to what is available on the marketplace currently. I would put this right up there with something like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X in terms of what these games, how these games will look and how these games will run on the Steam machine itself. You could see the different specs on here, and obviously a lot of it comes down to the development of the game and, you know, what companies are able to do with the Steam machine. But I do feel like there is an incentive to make your games run as good as possible on the Steam machine, because you're opening up a new library of potential customers. The customers who maybe don't buy all that much stuff on consoles, but they're kind of interested in PC gaming and they're maybe picking up this device. Now you have even more customers at your disposal. So I think there is going to be a concentrated effort to make sure that games that are on the Steam machine, which I mean will be mostly the entire Steam library, do have that Steam machine profile for games. Because yes, much like with the Steam Deck, there is going to be a Steam machine profile where it tells you how the game performs on a Steam machine. So by only having one Steam machine to kind of focus on instead of a million different PC configurations like how PC games are on Steam, because you got to remember everyone's computer is a little bit different. With a Steam machine, your Steam machine is the same Steam machine as your friend's Steam machine. I'm saying Steam machine quite a lot in this video, but there's no sort of, you know, second guessing like, oh, well, what kind of DDR RAM does it have? You know, what kind of, you know, specs does this thing have? It doesn't matter because all the Steam machines are built equally. So I think that that is very important. Now, one of the things I just said was that I feel like it's going to be right up there with PS5 and Xbox Series X in terms of performance. But I actually think, and I could be overstepping my boundaries here, because like I said, I'm not a PC guy by any stretch of the imagination. But I actually think that this could be even better in some instances. And the thing that I'm kind of weighing that in on is the fact that this Steam machine does not have Windows installed in it. Because if you look at a PC with these exact same specs, more than likely it's going to have Windows installed on it. Windows has a lot of bloat when it comes to running programs in the background and things that need to be running on this device. Now you can add Windows onto this device on the Steam machine if you want to, because it is a Linux-based thing and that allows for any operating system to be on there. But if you're using this primarily for Steam games and stuff like that, I feel like the additional resources not being used by Windows is going to play a role in how the games perform. Like that's where the difference is going to be, is like if somebody puts Windows on their, like a full-on Windows installation on their operating system for the Steam machine versus someone who's just running it straight out of the box, I think the person running it out of the box may get better performance on more graphically demanding games and stuff when you really look at it. And we're already seeing some games like Black Myth Wukong and Metal Gear Solid Delta that are pretty much confirmed to be running at least at 4K 60, I would assume, because that's what the system is targeting when it comes to the performance on the Steam machine. But the beauty of it is that people are going to be making like custom operating systems. That's the one thing about the PC community that nobody can deny. They're a very crafty bunch of individuals. And I think you will see custom, operating systems, like very limited versions of Windows with like, completely bare bones potentially running on this system that people are going to come up with in order to access something else that's going to be very important on this device. And that, my friends, is emulation. This thing is going to be an emulation powerhouse. Looking at the specifications of this system and imagining that it had Windows on it, like, because I'm looking at it from a PC perspective. This thing will run PS3 stuff, absolutely no problem. Like, you're not going to have trouble running anything, any emulator that's out there that's available right now, including a recent system from a company that was founded in, I don't know, they was like playing cards. I'm trying not to say their name because they're very litigious, but they're not their most new system, but the one before it. Bro, these things are going to run amazing on this. And then once again, you don't have all that Windows bloat that's potentially holding these things down. I am definitely excited for the emulation side of things when it comes to the Steam Machine, because this thing is going to be more than capable. You're going to be able to do things on this that, you know, a lot of PCs that you're probably watching this video on, at least, probably aren't capable of doing because of how much stuff you have on your computer. This is a dedicated Steam Machine system that you can choose to use as a computer. You can run programs and stuff on it, but if you're looking at it from strictly a gaming perspective, it is a very capable thing. And then we have one final reason why I am excited for this, and that's, you know, the elephant in the room. Right now, if you want to play your PlayStation online, you want to play your Xbox online, you want to play your Nintendo Switch 2 online, you have to pay money. It costs you money to play games online on these systems. Guess what? Doesn't cost you on Steam. Free multiplayer. So that $100, that $50, that whatever you're spending a month. And then, of course, if you have multiple systems like me, you're spending even more than that because it's all compounding from all the other different systems. I'm paying for online for 3 different systems right now. I don't have to pay a cent to play games online on the Steam Machine. So when it comes to third-party games that I'm playing for pleasure, I might be looking at the Steam Machine versions of them more so than I would be looking at my Xbox or my PlayStation, because I don't have to worry about having a online paid subscription service in order to just play the game online like the developers intended me to do it. I think that could be very attractive to a lot of consumers as well, and it really comes down to how this thing is marketed, because yes, both you and I know that PC gamers don't pay to play online unless it's like an MMO or something like that. But a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people are just so used to paying for online gaming nowadays because that's what their consoles do, that can make this very attractive. There is, of course, one major question though, and you know, it's something that's lingering, and I've seen a lot of debate about this, and I just kind of want to share my thoughts on it, because I think I see it a little bit differently than some other people do, because all of this stuff sounds great. Steam is a very capable, you know, place to buy games. There's a ton of games to choose from. There's a ton of classic games to choose from. The Steam Machine is a very capable system. It's not going to be bogged down by Windows and Windows bloat. It's going to be probably the best emulation device out there when it comes to like a PC and being able to do that. But you still have the comfort of a console should you not want to mess around with that, and the free multiplayer. But what is this thing going to cost? Because I've seen stuff ranging all over the place. Now, there are 2 different versions of the Steam Machine in terms of onboard memory. There is one with 512 SSD, and there is one with 2 terabytes of SSD. So obviously this is all digital gaming. We're not talking physical stuff here. So I think when you look at the difference in the sizes of the SSD for these 2 devices, 512 and 2 terabytes, the 2 terabyte one is obviously going to be the premium system. People have said everything from $600 to $1,000 to $1,300, so on and so forth. And a lot of people are starting to feel like, oh, well, this is going to be very expensive. This could be $1,000. This could be more than $1,000. We could be talking about the next generation Xbox price for the Steam Machine. But I don't really see it that way, because Steam is a very different company than all other companies that are out there right now. First and foremost, you do not have a Windows license attached to it. If it did have Windows on it, I do think it would be more expensive because you have to pay for that Windows license. There is no Windows license on it, so that's keeping costs down. But you have to look at how Steam just conducts their business model to begin with. Steam, I don't expect this. I think this is going to be similar in rollout to the Steam Deck, where it's like, hey, we're selling this directly to the consumer. There's no storefront. We're not on, you don't walk into a Best Buy and see a Steam machine. You buy it directly from Steam themselves, meaning that there is no middleman. There is no middleman taking a cut of that. And the reason they do that is because Valve doesn't care. Valve doesn't care if the Steam Deck sells amazing or if it sells all right. Valve doesn't care if the Steam machine sells amazing or it sells all right, because it's not a core principle of their business model. Would they rather it do well than completely bomb? Of course. I mean, that's just basic business. You want something to do good and not completely fail. But their business isn't hinged on whether or not the Steam machine does well or the Steam Deck does well. Their business is hinged on selling you games that you have on a PC. That's where they make their money. They're getting a cut from every game that's sold on there. They're worth so much money. If this thing sells, if they sell one Steam machine and they sold one Steam Deck, they wouldn't care. It's not hurting them. They're just like, oh, well, we tried something and it didn't work out. Whereas if you look at a company like Nintendo or you look at a company like PlayStation, obviously a lot more reliant on the side of things when it comes to consoles. They want their consoles to sell. They need their consoles to sell. And I know what you're saying to yourself. Well, RGT, what about the Xbox Steam console that's coming out potentially late 2026, early 2027? The thing about that to me is I feel like it's going to be a lot more expensive. This is also going to be a Microsoft Xbox product. Microsoft makes Windows. I think there is going to be a form of Windows on this device, which I don't think it'll necessarily affect the price because they obviously own Windows, but I do feel like it will affect potentially the bloat of the device as far as what things are going to be added into it that I can't remove. And honestly, I don't really see like the next generation Xbox console being a powerhouse upgrade much more over what this is going to be. Even if it on paper is much stronger than what the Steam machine is looking at, I think obviously that's going to come with a high cost. And when you look at the development cycle of games, how many companies are going to be making a game that fully maximizes and fully utilizes what that system does and what that system is capable of? I feel like most companies aren't going to do that. They will look for the lesser common denominator and then build their game, more so around that. Have some nice bells and whistles for the super premium Xbox Series Z or whatever the hell they're going to call it. But then you get into the whole thing. Well, I mean, if it has Steam on there, why are we making an Xbox version to begin with? Because now we're losing a cut from two different places. Like, I see it as two different things. Like, I think if they could come out, if the 512 is like $600, maybe $700, I would like to see $600. If they're able to get that 512 out at $600, I think we have a very interesting conversation. I think we have a very interesting conversation as far as the future of consoles and just how well this thing is going to do. And as a console gamer, I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to having a little box I could put under my television, turn the stupid thing on, and then boom, I could play PC stuff. I don't have to sit here down in the basement with my mouse and my keyboard, clicking around on stuff. Now I got to set up my controller. Everything hopefully will be optimized for the Steam machine to give it a console-like feel to it. And if you have that, you might have a winner. You might have a winner. So let me know in the comments section down below, what do you think about the Steam machine? Are you as optimistic as it or for it as I am, or do you see it as just something that's going to come and go? It'll honestly probably be very niche. I'm not expecting this to sell PlayStation or Nintendo Switch 2 numbers or anything like that, but I think as an option, it could be something that's very attractive. That also kind of takes the flight out of the sales of the next generation Xbox console because, I mean, Steam just said, hey, you know what? We're just going to make our own thing. You know, you can still make your little Xbox that has Steam on it, and we'll get our cut of the money. But we're just going to make one, too. That'll probably be substantially cheaper. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.